Last week I did a video on the tactical things that Disneyland uses to keep us in their park longer and ultimately buy more stuff. And I've been thinking about that a lot over the last week as I've been going into stores, because when I go into stores, I'm realizing stores are doing a lot of stuff to keep us really engaged with their products or in there longer so that we buy more stuff. And in today's video, I want to talk about 3 different clusters of things that stores do: store layout, store design, and ways that stores control our speed walking through them, so that you are aware when you go into these stores of the tactics that are being used. With that in mind, let's get into the first thing, which is store layouts. I'm sure that all of us have paid attention to store layouts at one time or another. And the most common example of this is grocery stores. But this is happening everywhere, and some of the same principles that apply to grocery stores are working in electronic stores and department stores and whatnot. What grocery stores do has to do with essentials and produce. Essentials are the items that people want and need from the grocery store, that they're coming to the grocery store to get. And produce, while it may be essential, is the highest turnover item, the stuff with the shortest shelf life that they need to get through as quickly as possible. So what do 99.9% of grocery stores do? Well, they take the essentials and they put them in the way back of the store. And they take the produce and they put it in the way front of the store. That way, every single person that's walking in has to walk by the produce in order to get to the essentials. This is an elegant design from the grocery store because every single person that walks in has to see the produce, which has the shorter shelf life, even if they're only there to buy milk. And it's happening everywhere. In electronic stores, the TVs or like the electronic essentials are all the way in the back, so that you have to walk through cameras and cell phones and laptops and all that stuff. Next time you walk into any type of store, think about the layout of it. Are they putting things in specific areas to lead you through the store? Or are they putting the most popular stuff by the checkout line so that you buy it at the end, or whatever it is, whatever tactic they're using? Think about that because it's probably been intentional and it's really cool to pay attention to. The layout is super important, but now let's talk about the store details or design of the experience within the store to either help you take the action that they want you to or to interact with their brand on a different level. And I want to start with the first one because it's so interesting. And the best example of this is Apple. Apple knows for people who are looking at computers that if you type or interact with them, you have a better chance of buying it. It's similar to driving a car. People who drive cars are going to convert at a higher rate. So people who type on computers, that's what Apple wants you to do. So how do they do this? It's not with software. It's not with crazy displays. It's not with incentives or anything like that. What Apple has done is they figured out that if they tilt the laptop screen back too much so that it plays on like our OCD or our need to keep things neat and orderly, that people will come into the store and they will fix it. So Apple's employees purposefully set the screen a little too far back because that will mean that the next person that walks in is more likely to take it, pull it up, fix it to be where it should be. And then once they've touched it, why not just go ahead and type? And this is a really nice subconscious tactic that they're using that they've discovered that is more effective than probably anything else they could have put in the store to get someone like you or me just to type on their computer. Now that's a fun tactic that Apple's doing to get you to interact with their products, but this stuff's happening all over. I mean, Sonos has rooms, Dyson, there's vacuum areas that you can test their vacuums on. Companies have done a lot of cool things to get you to interact with their products and ultimately buy them. But there are other things that store design does, such as enhance the brand and the feeling of the company that we're interacting with. And a great example of this is Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's feels like a different grocery store. It feels more neighborhoody. And of course that has to do with the products that they sell, but then they're also doing very specific design things within the store that makes it feel more neighborhoody. And the number one thing that comes to mind here is handwritten signs. Employees from Trader Joe's have done this, and it makes it feel like or a neighborhood market. It's just a small detail, but it adds to the overall aesthetic so much. It feels like a neighborhood market, even though it is just a grocery store. Now, these are just a couple different types of ways that stores can design their experiences. I mean, ways that they get you to interact with their product, ways that they're elevating their brand and how you think about the company. But the last thing that I want to talk about is definitely the most mind control thing, and that is how stores control our speed. Let's start with one of my favorite examples of this, and it is Target. And when you walk into Target, they have a very relevant, inexpensive, seasonal area that's been curated at the front of the store. This is for people who are rushing in to buy one thing where they see it and they see the deals and they immediately slow down. And it is really hard to get back to the urgent pace that you're walking in after you've been sitting there and browsing. It puts you in this state of mind to just browse the rest of the store. And you'll hear the term loss leader thrown out a lot. This is where someone sells something at a loss because they know that they're going to make it back somewhere else. And this could almost be a loss leader for Target because it just slows you down so much when you walk into the store that then you're going to move through the rest of the store at a much slower pace and not just go grab the thing that you wanted to and leave. Now, other companies do other things in order to get us to take more time in their store. Costco, if you've noticed, has no aisle labels. They want you to search for everything in their store. And while this isn't the best experience for the user, there aren't that many complaints of people being in Costco for too long. We have to talk about companies like IKEA that send you through their entire store like a maze and have a cafeteria in there because they want you to spend the entire day looking for different stuff. Even places like Bed Bath & Beyond, they would set up their store, they call it like a racetrack, where the aisles are so high, they just guide you through everything. You can't really check out the whole store at once. So you'll go through different places and explore the whole store. But then even just general aisle construction, places like Home Goods, they have small aisles with a ton of stuff in each aisle, and it's pretty chaotic in all of those aisles. So by default means you are moving slower through the store. Now this almost slipped through the radar, but as I'm thinking about it, it is employed at a bunch of different stores. When you're walking through a cart on floor, regular floor, it's quick. When you move it over to carpet, it's a little bit slower. And so these big department stores, places like Target, where you are gonna take a cart through like the baby clothes aisles, you are gonna be moving slower because the cart is going to slow you down. The regular flooring is great to get you around the store, but then there is definitely carpeted areas of that where they'll say maybe it's coincidence, but I think that it's intentional that they're putting it there so that you spend just a little bit more time browsing and they can get rid of potentially their own Target line of stuff. But anyway, those are the things that come to mind for me. There are a million other examples of this, and I would love to hear some of the stuff that you're paying attention to. I am a newer channel, so that like and that subscribe would really help me continue doing this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.